Hey fam, as always, let's end our session with a little mini teaching from my Bible. This one, I found it in Genesis. It's called A Legacy of Faith. It takes inspiration from Genesis chapter 9 to 10 and Luke chapter 1, 68 to 75. So let's get into it. Every spiritual giant is standing on someone else's shoulders. This is the unexpected sermon proclaimed through Noah's life after the flood. After the dramatic events found in Genesis chapter 6, verse 8, the narrative pivots past Noah to his family and a long list of names identifying Noah's children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Family, generations, descendants, clans. This is the drumbeat of generational language we hear in these chapters. The words father and son are mentioned nearly 30 times in just 61 verses. A chronic skimmer, I'm tempted to gloss over generational lists, but if I resist the urge and pay attention, I see the branches of Noah family tree are loaded with significance. Canaan was Noah's grandson, Genesis chapter 9, verse 18. We will see that name again. So check out the name of the place God promised Abraham in Genesis chapter 12 to 13 and the Israelites in Exodus chapter 3 verse 17. So I got a little context there. Egypt was another grandson of Noah. He would settle in the place where Joseph would later reign under Pharaoh. Genesis chapter 45 verse 8, and where Jesus would flee with his parents, fulfilling an ancient prophecy. While it may seem like Jesus is far removed from this early story in Genesis, that isn't really the case. Noah's son Shem was a chosen branch of the family tree. From his line would come Abraham, the Israelites, King David, and ultimately Jesus, our Savior. After the floodwaters receded, Noah went back to a life as usual. He tended a vineyard and bounced grandbabies on his knee. For 350 years after the flood, life simply went on. Then something remarkable happened. So Noah's life lasted 950 years, then he died. Despite his great triumph on the ark and his legacy of radical obedience, Noah's story ended with a funeral just like mine will. But the torch of faith was passed through the generations, and that flame can be traced back to this spark. And Noah did everything that the Lord commanded him. Obedience to God was the gift Noah gave to the next generation when we obey God. We are storing away treasure for those who will come behind us. Noah's children and grandchildren made an impact we are still feeling today, but it didn't happen instantly. We can affect future generations too, but we have to make peace with the marathon of life, refusing to settle for the spirit. Noah's life shows us that being serious about kingdom building means being serious about delayed gratification. His story urges us to desire for the Lord to be glorified in his timing. As God's people, we stand on the shoulders of those who have been faithful to obey before us. Their stories, like Noah, remind us that when we obey in time, God builds a legacy through us. Now, I feel like that's very encouraging, to know that like when we do obey God, he will build something through us, and it doesn't always come straight away, but, in time, and, I feel like it can definitely be hard sometimes, like you feel like giving up. You feel like, oh, nothing is working. I haven't seen any progress, but I feel like the more that we persist with God, the more that he will persist with us, and we will bear fruit through him. So, like as always, I hope that this was encouraging for someone today, and may God bless you all.